Hello guys, and welcome to my brand new series, English in Medias. This is where I take you step by step through the most important parts of English by bringing you specific examples for grammar and hard to pronounce vocabulary from TV shows and movies, besides answers for the most frequently asked questions. Now, if you are ready, please prepare a paper and pen and let's go.
And I'll get a paper and pen.
Have you asked yourself why we call it present simple, not present complicated or something? The rule is, any English tense has two parts. The main part, which is the main verb, and the auxiliary verb, which determines the time, not the meaning itself.
We will go!
What's an auxiliary? It's a verb which only helps to determine the time. Doesn't have anything to do with the meaning itself. In other words, when omitted or deleted, the meaning is still the same. We will go, we go. Will is omitted, the same meaning, but we don't know if it's in the present or in the future. This mixture of the main part and the auxiliary gives us the tense. In our case, it's the present simple. Present means currently happens, and simple, which is the main form, the basic form of the verb without any additions. Regardless that the third person singular, we add an S or an ES.
And he eats cheeseburger.
If she eats it,
As it goes all the way back to my mother.
Unlike other presents. By the way, we have three types of presents. Present simple, present progressive, which is the continuous, and present perfect. Present simple, right, becomes writes.
That would be what Freddie Long's writes.
Present continuous is writing.
We're just rehearsing a play that Nick is writing.
Present perfect has written.
Matt and I have made a pact, never to read what the other has written.
Now we have 16 situations in which we can use the present simple, and we'll go through them one by one. In present simple, we would say,
Like I play in the kiddie pool.
when I play in the stadium, it's something more or less permanent. But when I'm playing, my strength will come to an end, of course. I'm teaching, you're listening. This is present continuous. I teach, you listen. This is present simple. Something that happens regularly. We need to remember something very important. Most verbs ends with an S, like dance, dances, play, plays, love, loves. But when it's ending in S, SH, CH, and X, it will need an ES, not just an S. Like bless, blesses.
It blesses both the giver and the receiver.
Blesses is ES. Did you notice that we are hearing a little bit of Z sound and it's all longer? That tells us we need to add an ES, not just an S, like watch, watches.
Or that he watches television.
Also, we need to remember that when a word ends with a Y and before it there is a consonant, like study, the D is a consonant. You know what are the consonants are? They are any letters that is not a vowel. O, I, A, U, and E. We need to omit the Y, delete it permanently, and instead add IES. Study, studies.
Just make sure he studies.
Unlike the word buy, it becomes buys, buy-u-y, not buy-u-I-E-S.
If she buys a new one, then I'll know she's never moving in.
Of course, we have some exceptions, like the word colloquy means a meeting or discussion.
Done. And now our colloquy is over.
It has Y at the end, and before this Y, there is a vowel, the U. We omit the Y and add IES, colloquies. And of course, we have some other exceptions, like have become has,
He has a job for you.
They have a guy in Hamburg.
go become goes.
Maybe see my wife before she goes to bed.
These are the most common patterns in the present simple. The second situation is we use do and does to make questions and to make negatives.
Question, do you play the guitar? I play the banjo.
Do is the auxiliary verb, you is the subject, play is the main verb, and the rest of the sentence. Do you play the piano? No, I don't play the piano. She doesn't play the piano. They don't play the piano.
Really? You didn't tell him that I don't play for your team?
But questions with who often doesn't take do or does. Like,
Well, who lives here?
if you ask yourself why we did not add an auxiliary verb, who lives here, where is the do auxiliary? Because the S in the lives already indicated the tense. Like, who lived in here? The ed at the end of the verb already indicated that it's the past. But if you want to make it in the future, we need to add will. Here is the only case we can use auxiliary verb. The third situation is we use a present simple to talk about something that is true in the present.
I speak only English.
There is a folder in that briefcase on the conference table. It contains the last remnants of this operation.
I don't like liars. I'm not lying.
When I don't like the liars, it means that it's something in my personality permanently. My trait, something stuck with me. I'll never love the liar. Who damn well does? The fourth situation is when you talk about something that happens regularly, repeatedly, every week or every month.
I watch football every week.
You know you have to pay your bills every month, right?
I make this run every month.
When you try to learn a tense, the best way you can do to practice is to apply this tense according to your own life. The fifth situation is that we use the present simple in the facts. When we want to talk about facts, the scientific facts.
Boiling water freezes faster than cold water.
2 + 2 = 4.
It's always 4. It's never 5. It's never 3. It's something scientific, something natural. It's not something that you decided or I decide. The sixth situation is that we can use the adverbs of frequency, which determines how many times you will regularly do this situation or this action, or how many times something is happening. Like always,
And she always pays cash.
never,
It's just they never stay in a hotel. They always stay here.
rarely,
Because you rarely meet someone who has one, and when you do, it makes you want to hide under your desk.
and so on. The word rarely means that it's less likely to happen. The word always means that playing football or the action being taken is much more likely to happen, like 365 times a year. We fly to Paris next week. It's not we will fly because it's already booked. Maybe we can say we will book a ticket, but it's
Tomorrow we fly to Chicago.
Train leaves in an hour.
the eighth situation is we use the present simple to express something in the future after time words, like after,
I promise you, after you win, we're going with this one.
before,
Maybe see my wife before she goes to bed.
when,
Look, that's what people think when they first meet him.
if,
A monitor is not a toy, Andy.
Anything is a toy if you play with it.
and unless.
Hi. You're not allowed to have a dog in here unless he wants to buy the book.
You must do your homework before you go to bed. You need to go to bed after you finish your homework. If it rains, we will get wet. We will not get wet until it rains. The ninth situation to use the present simple is when we give instructions or give the recipes for food.
Put them all in a mixing bowl, add eggs, milk, stick it in the oven, and
At the end of the hall is a door. Once you pass through, turn left to 1A yard. Turn left, proceed 20 feet.
The tenth situation is we use a present simple with a series of events. Like the football commentator, he says, Lewandowski passes the ball to Sergio Gnabry and scores the hat-trick against FC Barcelona.
Jamal White says we're home. High Risers lead to 3. Hemingway passes the ball to Fraser. Fraser makes a move. Fraser shoots a 2-pointer.
I'm a big fan of FC Bayern Munich, by the way. The 11th situation is when we're telling a story. Like,
Man walks into a bar with a giraffe. They just get pissed. The giraffe falls over. The man goes to leave, and the barman says, "Oi, you can't leave that lion there." He says, "No, it's not a lion. It's a giraffe."
the 12th situation is when we are summarizing a book, a film, a novel.
I summarized chapter 3. It starts with the Magna Carta and how it affected the serfs in rural England.
The 13th situation is for declaration.
I hereby condemn you to burn in the fires of hell.
The 14th situation for stative verbs like
I agree with you. Tends to be their response when they disagree with you.
I like you.
Because you need to learn English to survive.
and so on. What are stative verbs supposed to be? Stative verbs are to describe the emotion, the feeling, the thinking, the state, rather than the action itself. Like, when I think, I don't use my hands to think. When I agree, I don't use my hands to agree. When I need, when I want, and so on. Also, it can be in the present continuous, but we'll talk about this later on in the present continuous video. They are not usually used in the present continuous. I know the answer. I am not knowing the answer. No, I don't know the answer. Most common examples for stative verbs: thoughts and opinions, feelings and emotions, senses and perceptions, lastly, position and measurement. The 15th situation is with jokes.
A man goes into a restaurant, he sits down, he's having a bowl of soup. He says to the waiter, "Waiter, come, taste the soup." Waiter says, "Is there something wrong with the soup?" He says, "Taste the soup." He says, "Is there something wrong with the soup? Is the soup too hot?" He says, "Will you taste the soup?" "It's wrong. Is the soup too cold?" "Will you just taste the soup?" "All right, I'll taste the soup. Where's the spoon?" Aha!
Sorry, it's not funny, I know. Now we have the 16th and last situation for present simple, the headlines. We use the present simple to make headlines in a newspaper, most commonly used. 5 die in the city house fire. Now we have reached the end of the video. Thank you so much for spending time watching it. If you believe it has added anything to your knowledge, please let me know in the comment section, as it will dramatically increase my morale. Thank you guys again, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Goodbye.